Dear Captain, the Terran versus Protoss balance is very poor. Early in the Legacy of the Void, Stalkers were weakened, Marauders were strengthened, and Void Rays were strengthened, giving the impression that Void Rays were used against Marauders. Soon, the Void Ray was weakened again, but the Marauders survived. Back in the game, seeing T's fatal miss in the opening, my happiness flew like the opponent's base. But soon I stopped laughing because 2 Phoenixes and 3 Masters can't solve 2 Cyclones. Under my harassment, the Crow was intercepted, but still could not stop its advance. Even though I lifted his tank with the Phoenix, I was forced to abandon a base. Then there's the scene that embodies the Colossus, where the Marauders don't need any Vikings to fight the Super Battery, taking out 5 Colossus and 2 Archons. I can't help but think that the Colossus is limited by all the air forces, tanks, Thors, Raiders, and even anti-aircraft towers. I think he means turrets there. As the ultimate army unit, does it really have a reasonable balance? When will there be a Protoss in Intel Extreme Masters top 8? This imbalanced complaint form was sent in by coincidence, a player on the Korean server in the Masters League at 4,400 MMR, with the question being very simple. Is Terran imbalanced? Is the Colossus too weak? Or does he suck? Let's find out. Now, before we truly get into the game, I'd like to point something out. As you can see right now, we have this beautiful man flying around on the tooltip here around the Nexus. The decal has been replaced. Usually that happens when you press the B button in a replay. You go back in the replay and the replay struggles getting the image. It's like, oh, here's a placeholder. This is the standard placeholder image. This time, however, I was forced into doing this because coincidence has a naked anime lady floating around as the decal on his Nexus. And as I like my YouTube channel quite a bit, I'm going to have to blur it by putting this placeholder on top. But this is already a first clue. Is I think people that have a naked anime lady as their decal on their Nexus, I'm not saying necessarily that you have brain damage, but I think it's a first indication. You know what I mean? I think if you have like a requirement list, that would probably be on there. It's like a symptom, basically. It's one of the symptoms. You know, if you have 2 or 3 of symptoms on that list, you definitely have brain damage. And coincidence so far has definitely hit that first requirement just right on the head. Just beautiful. That's a quick clue already here. That coincidence, there might be something wrong. Just a little bit. This is a Masters player. By the way, I mentioned that already, but I figured I just want to mention it again. A Masters player with an anime naked lady flying around his Nexus. I'm not sure what the opponent had around the command center, but I doubt it was an anime lady. All right, coincidence versus JV Jeong. I'm just going to call this Terran JV for now, so we're all just aware as to what the naming conventions are going to be in this game. Reaper first opener, very standard stuff. Reaper CC. We have a... What in the ever-living crap was that? That was... Okay. This is a very confusing build. Sorry, we need to go back a little bit because I completely missed this. So... we have a standard gate opener going into a 1-gate expansion. Lots of gas mining as well, by the way. Probe being sent down. I don't know why this is being sent down, but it is being sent down. Nexus could be thrown down right now, but instead we see coincidence here wanting to actually get a cybernetics core. So sends the worker that's already downstairs back to build a cyber core, I think, is what happens. Then realizes, no, that's wrong, goes back to here, uses another worker to build a cyber core. This cybernetics core is, usually it goes down at 1 minute and 24 seconds. Right now it went down at 1 minute and 38 seconds, which is 14 seconds too late. Don't forget, this is 4,600 MMR on the Korean server. These are serious players. They're not They're not jokers. So the Nexus went down while there was enough money for a Nexus and a core. This might as well have been a Nexus before core, and then your Nexus would have been 15 seconds faster. Even then the core would have been quicker. This has been one of the worst openers that I've seen in a very long time at this level. This makes absolutely no sense. He just forgot his first two structures. And now he's forgetting the assimilator as well. Well, one more symptom, by the way, of brain damage is building a cybernetics core 12 seconds late for no real reason. So just it is the second requirement. All we need right now is just one more and we're there. And actually, I think we might be getting there. So we see this adept 15 seconds too late. Reaper doesn't manage to get a second kill, because already did get one kill, but not a second one. We don't have a second gas yet. I'm not sure if this has been forgotten or if this is some new, more efficient way of playing. It's the double gas. Very nice. Sorry, we're gonna have to go back again. This is just too beautiful to miss, okay? So look at this. I bet that coincidence set studying, you know, he was thinking about this particular setup. He's like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna long distance mine from the natural, increase my mineral income. Then with the increased mineral income, I'm gonna get 2 assimilators at the same time and increase my gas income later on. But first, more minerals, then more gas. What in reality he should have done, if this was his entire plan, is just continue mining from the main base. Long distance mining is less efficient than oversaturating your main base till 20 workers. So this is extremely inefficient. Taking double gas is not just inefficient, but is also just bad. You cannot afford everything if you don't have a quick second gas. You can't afford your fast warp gate while also getting a Stargate unit out. You're not going to be having a serious amount of serious amount of gas in the bank the moment your Stargate finishes, and that just freaking sucks. So this has absolutely been a god-awful start. What the hell happened here in the mirror? Oh, he lifted his base, I guess, accidentally. Okay, both players are really making a massive mess of this game. I feel like if I would have gotten this particular game in rank roulette, I'm not sure if I would have rated this above platinum. Because holy crap, so far it's been bad. Like, extremely bad. Once the dust settles though, no mining on the natural gas, so this gas is just for banter, I guess. Once the dust settles, I'm not even sure who's ahead here. I want to say it's coincidence, but I'm not entirely sure if this is true. Double cyclones popping out, now moving across the map. A third Nexus on the way as well. I wonder what's being said here. Flaming each other a little bit. No worker production. Actually, I think our Terran is just ahead at this point. I think our Terran might just be ahead. Third CC on the way, starport coming out. There's nothing really to do with these 2 Cyclones either. Do we have the Phoenix? Okay, we have 1 Phoenix. I'm not sure how it's possible to only have 1 Phoenix 4 minutes and 20 seconds into the game, but it is what has happened here. Cyclones moving back. The 2 Phoenixes are going to be capable of probably dealing with at least one of these Cyclones. 2 Adepts have now gone down. 700 minerals in the bank for our Terran. 300 minerals in the bank for our Protoss. Still doesn't have a forward gas. Still only on 37 workers. Now we're going to get another push out. Immortal on the way. Extremely late Robo Bay. I just don't quite understand what happened in this game. It feels like coincidence has tried reinventing the wheel and came out with a triangle here, because this is one of the worst Phoenix Colossus builds that I've seen in my entire life. I actually feel like that reinventing the wheel and making it a triangle is probably the 3rd requirement for having serious brain damage. Congratulations, coincidence. You didn't need an EEG scan. We just figured it out like this. Yeah, saved you a little bit of cash. So in the future when you're struggling, you know why it is. Robobay about to finish up right now. Immortal is out. 41 workers to 40. This base not mining. Extra barracks on the way already as a Raven's being popped out. Tanks coming out. So, once again, let's just analyze the situation here. We have 1 gateway, 1 Stargate and 1 Robo as production for our Protoss. We have pretty much an even worker count, while there's a 3rd CC, which is definitely favorable for the Terran. Didn't Coincidence mention that the early game went quite well? Or maybe he just meant the first 3.5 minutes. Maybe Coincidence always believes that the early game goes well because he has such a smart build order. So he's just naturally ahead of his opponent. Because his builder is so much smarter and efficient. So all these other Protoss players have no clue how to make builds. Coincidence, however, has figured it out. Every time he wins a game, it's due to his brilliance. And when he loses, it's due to his opponent's imbalanced race. Is the only solution. Because the builds are just so darn efficient. Good lord, I wish I could make builds as efficient as this. I wish I would have invented long distance mining from the natural while being on a single gas. God, I wish that was me. But it ain't. Colossus on the way, Stim and Combat as well coming out. Not a whole lot going on. We have... How many Phoenixes have we had? Okay, we lost 0 Phoenixes. And currently there are 4 Phoenixes out on the map. 7 minutes into the game. Which is an extremely low number. And also they haven't done anything yet. Usually with Phoenixes you want to try and harass a little bit. Because, well, they are not great fighters. They're good at controlling airspace. And they're good at harassing. So far they have really done neither. At least in my mind. Let's take a quick look here at the map vision as well. Absolutely beautiful. Neither of the towers being taken. No observer on the map to scout where the opponent is coming from. Phoenix is he aware of the third base? No, not yet aware of the third base. Right now, Coincidence down 5 workers as well, which once again, quite frankly, impressive. Just purely because of the lack of building workers in the early game. He lost 2 workers, killed 3 SCVs. Technically should have been up, but is definitely not up here. Phoenixes could be rotating here in this base, trying to kill some workers. Instead, they're just going to be idling for a bit longer. We still have absolutely 0 vision right now on the map. No adapt, no nothing here being pushed out. Okay, we're gonna get some kills at least. That's nice. Got 2, got 3, got 4, 5. Kills that Raven as well, yep. That is the intercepted crow. The Raven was the crow. Crow? Crow. Yeah, whatever. However you pronounce it. That's what he killed. Double forges coming in. So right now, 8 minutes into the game, we have 3 gateways. 2 forges which have researched nothing. A 4th base. 2 more gateways in position. Walling against Zergling attacks. If JV at some point in this game decides to switch to Zerg, then this is going to be really useful. If, however, JV decides to ever attack this with range units, I think it's going to create a better aggressive concave for JV, as well at the same time make these 2 buildings massive liabilities here, where you kind of need to defend them, because he doesn't have so much production. He's getting a 5th base. Opponent currently still mining on 3 bases. 5th base on 5 gates. That is something that we very rarely see. That's actually something that we never see. Especially not if you're being what feels like pretty much a 1-1 timing all in here coming out of JV. Now, of course, if Coincidence has scouted anything, even... Wait, this makes even less sense. Holy crap, look at this. I'm gonna pause the game. I thought for some reason that this was a response to seeing the 3rd and the 4th base. But JV scouted a 2 base all in so far. And as a response goes up to 5 bases. And air weapons. Make it make sense. Because I freaking can't. This is, I just cannot understand this. No vision on the map. Now we're gonna get our first vision. Seize this army. Otherwise, what could have happened here, usually one of the things that you want to do against tanks. Now this is a revolution. Oh my god, this is a terrible fight. This might be a revolutionary thought, but imagine you have a scout. Okay, listen to this. Imagine you have a scout, you see your opponent moving out. You see a lack of Vikings. Like a complete 0 Vikings and a low Marauder count, okay? What you can do is move forward with your Colossus to meet this army in the middle of the map and then start shooting, forcing a slow siege up, a small leapfrog forward coming out of the tanks, allowing you maybe to transfer workers away from this base over towards your 5th base. Instead, what Coincidence does here, sends all the units that can be sent in right into their death, uses the Colossus range, while also losing the Immortals into the tanks, and then continues fighting here. This is phenomenal play. This is actually phenomenal play. Using all units exactly how you don't want to be using them. Okay, Phoenix is now coming in with a flank. Super Battery is active. This fight is going so well for a Coincidence. If JV had just right-clicked the Colossus with the Marauders, this would have been a win already. Because it was just 3 Colossus without any backup here whatsoever. This is an insanely terrible fight. Colossus range once again could have been used there. Tanks were not in range to shoot at the Colossus. Now I hope the probes are being sent over towards the forward base. That would be the correct call. As well as maybe sending out a Zealot Rumbite to either kill some workers or pick off reinforcements would have been a good play. This game theoretically is over, but in a game of the level that we've seen so far, I think anything is possible. Like, this is what you want to be doing. Going in with your Colossus and then pulling back, forcing a siege up. Now, imagine if you had scouted with this observer the moment it moved out, you could have repeated that move freaking 15 times, okay? You would have cleared every single Marine before it came out. And while you're doing that, a Zealot Rumbite could have killed every single SCV on the other side of the map. You could have maybe been spending some of that 1k gas that you have into some more Archons before the fight happens. Don't forget the opponent moved out initially with I think 7 Marauders. At this point there are 19 Marauders. And the only thing that you did here is adding in more Colossus into your army. Rather than adding Disruptors or adding more Immortals, which are actually counters to the Marauder. Especially at lower levels, Disruptors are an insanely good counter to Marauders. Yeah, now you're just gonna get absolutely eaten. Like, how many Colossus did he go for total? He lost 3 already, now still has 3, builds another one. So went up to 7 Colossus before getting different Robo units. I think there were 2 Immortals from the early game, but never Disruptors. Fights inside of tank range once more. And yes, the Colossus is not a serious counter to the Marauder, but it is definitely a unit that helps against Marauders, because you can provoke the Marauder from a range, and then when the Marauder is forced into going into the Colossus, you have either Immortals or Disruptors or Archon and Zealot helping you out. The problem here isn't so much that the Colossus is terrible, it is that the Colossus by itself is pretty terrible. You legit had 0 backup this entire game, because your early game was very bad, you then didn't meet your opponent on the map, except when you sent in the Zealots and lost them for free. But we're still actually alive, despite all of these mistakes. Coincidence still continues playing. Is fighting a very large tank count. I still believe that a Zealot run by here would be fantastic. Loving this move out, by the way. Just phenomenal play, really. Oh my god, JV, please just kill this. There we go. Yeah. Very nice. Unsieged tanks here killing Colossus. Luckily, 2 more Colossus are showing up, which would have brought the total up to 8 Colossus if they hadn't died. We now have another Colossus coming out. I also love that Coincidence realizes that Colossus are not the answer to Marauders, yet the only thing that he keeps building is the Colossus. Like, if this were a Colossus-only challenge, I'd actually have some, you know, I could empathize with the situation here, but he could have built any other unit at this point and just decided not to. And then complains that it didn't work. It's like, yeah, if you're trying to nail a nail into the wall with a vacuum cleaner, it's not gonna do so well. Probably should have used a hammer. The hammer is right next to you. Like, you had the tech for the Disruptor available, you just didn't use it. Does leave you the GG, which is something. But, I mean, if you start with an anime lady on your Nexus, you then follow up with the most inefficient build order that I've seen in my entire life. You then go into almost no worker production, no harassment with the Phoenix, 0 map control, and terrible fighting. And then the game still feels remotely close despite going to 5 base against what you believe to be a 2 base. Then I think you're very happy that I don't say that Protoss is imbalanced, my friends. You should be very happy with that, because holy crap, you sucked. Terran was not imbalanced. Not in this game. Didn't even use any Ghost. Not a single Ghost was built. How can you lose against a Terran that doesn't build Ghost if you had Archons and Colossus? This doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, once again, you sucked. Congratulations. You did it. All right. That's it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this episode of Is It IMBA or Do I Suck? In which once again, sadly, we had a sucker and an anime-loving sucky Protoss player. It happens to the best, and I now also understand why he had a naked lady decal around his Nexus, because that's the closest that he's gonna get to a lady at any point if the gameplay is off this level. That was mean, and I apologize for that. I take that last part back. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye-bye. You will find love. Don't worry about it. Love, your skill in StarCraft doesn't matter for love. If the first thing a lady asks is your StarCraft rank, you're dealing with a rank digger. Trust me, you don't want none of that. All right. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.